everyone, we're the Mississippi State University Student Chapter of American Institute of Chemical Engineers. I'm Natalie King, and these are my two super scientists that will be helping me show you this experiment today.
Hi everyone, I'm Nathan Mitchell.
And I'm Lauren Brown.
We are so excited to be doing the diaper challenge with you all today. For this experiment, you will need to ask a parent or guardian for permission, as well as asking them to supervise these really cool things you're about to do. After gaining their permission and supervision, make sure you have safety glasses, long hair pulled back if you have any, and long sleeves and pants to wear.
In this experiment, we will first dissect each diaper, then we will test the absorbency of two different types of diapers with water, and we will carefully examine the inside of each. We will then compare the wet diapers with the dry diapers and go through detailed steps with you so we can perform this experiment safely together.
In this experiment, we'll be exploring several objectives, all of which will make you guys STEM superstars. These objectives include practicing your observation skills, analyzing product design, and identifying key technical aspects that allow for innovative product design. Now we'll take a look at our materials list.
For this experiment, you'll need 2 regular Huggies super absorbent diapers, 2 Huggies little swimmer swim pants, 1 pair of scissors, 1 large measuring cup or graduated cylinder like we have here, tap water, 1 disposable aluminum roasting pan, and a pencil and paper to write down your very own observations and measurements, just like a real engineer does.
Alright, my STEM superstars. Let's go ahead and start making some observations about our 2 different diapers. And while we're making these observations, let's try and focus on the design choices behind these diapers. And let's think about that an engineer had to make these design choices for a reason, and what these reasons could be. So let's take a look at our swimming. It has a lot of Velcro on it. There's a lot of elastic. It's a little thin, but it has an absorbent pad that you can see. Let's compare that to our regular Huggie. So it also has elastic bands. It also has some Velcro. Now take a look at the absorbent pad. Does that feel different? Does it look different? Also notice that the regular Huggie has a wet mark. Why do you think that's there? What's the purpose of that? So go ahead and make some more observations about the design of the diapers if you can. And whenever you're finished up with that, grab your scissors and we'll start dissecting our diapers. Alright everyone, hopefully you had fun dissecting your diapers and you paid close attention and you were able to write down some good observations and come up with some good ideas about why an engineer would want to implement these designs into these 2 different diapers. So here we have the swimmy cut in half and the regular Huggie cut in half. And particularly what I want you to notice before we move on to our next step is inside of the swimmy, as you can see, it's almost like different layers. That's the absorbent piece. And inside the regular Huggie, it's almost like this little fluffy material. You can see it kind of flakes off, and that's in the regular Huggie. And just keep that in mind whenever we go to the next step of the experiment where we test the absorbent capacity of each of these diapers. Alright my STEM superstars, now's the time for us to test how much water each of our diapers will hold. First, you will need to fill your measuring cup or graduated cylinder with water. Make sure to write down how much water is initially in your measuring cup. Ours has half a liter or 500 milliliters. Now let's start with the swimmy. Take the diaper and stretch it over your tray. Slowly begin to pour out your water onto the absorbent part of the diaper. And you will know that your diaper cannot absorb any more water whenever it begins to pool like ours has now. So at this point, you will take the measurement volume again from your measuring cup, and you'll subtract that number from your initial volume to determine how much water your swimmy absorbed. Now let's go ahead and proceed to our second diaper, the regular Huggy. And again, make sure to write your initial volume measurement down on your measuring cup and slowly pour out your water onto the absorbent part of your diaper. Now, this one may take a while, so please be patient and continue to slowly pour out your water. As you can see with our diaper, we've already absorbed a whole half a liter. Now we're going to refill our graduated cylinder, write down our new volume on the graduated cylinder, and proceed to try to fill up our diaper with water to max capacity. At this point, our diaper is fully saturated. So now that we've tested each of our two diapers to determine which one holds more water, let's take a closer inspection at each of these. As you can see, the regular diaper is nice and swollen. You can see that our dry diaper here is nowhere near as big as the one that is completely filled with water. And if you look over at the swimmy diaper, this one is not swollen at all, really. It's still about the same size as the dry diaper. Another thing that you can notice on our regular diaper is the wet mark changed colors as compared to the dry diaper, of course indicating that some water has gotten onto the diaper. Our regular diaper held about 750 milliliters of water, whereas the swimmy in our experiment held about 150 milliliters of water. So significantly less water absorption in the swimmy compared to the regular diaper. Now let's think about why that would be. If you were swimming and you jumped into the pool wearing a diaper like this and you immediately swelled up to such a size and absorbed almost an entire liter of water, what would happen? You would sink, right? You can't swim with a diaper like that. So instead, we have these swimmies that are really just there to contain anything that the baby might produce while they're in the water, and not necessarily to absorb it.
So we just cut open our wet, regular Huggy, and let's take a look at what we found. In the inside of it, the water has been absorbed and turned into a gel-like substance. If you squeeze it out, how does it feel? What's it look like? Is it still wet? Write down what you see and think of reasons why it may be like this. Now, after doing that, take a look at your swimmy. We cut this in half, and you see that there are layers in it, but it does not have any of the gel-like substance that's in your regular Huggy. Why do you think it might be like this? Let's talk about it.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about the theory behind why our regular Huggy was so absorbent. And the reason why is because the absorbent material of the Huggy is made out of something called a polymer. In fact, it is a super absorbent polymer. Now you might be wondering, what is a polymer? A polymer is a chain of identical molecules. And these identical molecules link together and they form kind of like this thread here, form a chain. And normally, whenever polymers interact with water, they dissolve. However, in super absorbent polymers, just like the ones in the regular Huggy, many of them come together to form this sort of interwoven net. And whenever water interacts with this net of polymers in the diaper, it swells up and it expands. And all the polymers are able to hold each other together and hold the water in as well. And you'll notice that that's exactly what happened, right? The diaper was huge. It held so much water. And that's the theory behind it. Now that we're at the end of our experiment, let's think back to our earlier observations made about the engineering design decisions for these diapers. Now obviously our regular Huggy swelled up a lot. It's very heavy, as I'm sure you can tell. Does it make sense now why the Velcro is there around the waist of the diaper, and also why the elastic material is there lining the diaper?
To wrap things up, let's take a look at variables. During our experiment, the variable that we changed was the diaper's absorbency. At home, you can create similar experiments by changing different variables and testing to see the results. Some examples are changing the water to salt water to see how the salt affects the polymers and see if the diaper absorbs the same amount of salt water as it did regular water. You can also change the temperature of the water and see how that affects the absorbency of the diaper. Lastly, one other example is to change the brand of diaper. In this experiment, we used Huggies, but there are so many different brands you could test to find the most absorbent diaper.
Thank you so much for joining us in this diaper challenge. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Until next time, bye!